Morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCORoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCORoofing.com. And Restored Motions. If you have pain, even chronic pain, book a session with Crystal Poche over at Restored Motions. She will bring you out of it. RestoredMotions.com. Okay. Get rolling here on this beautiful 50 degrees at Wake Up here in Baton Rouge. The seasons, they are a changin'. Brian Kelly met with media on Monday to preview Ole Miss. We could delve into some of that. I did ask Brian Kelly about play calling and if he was calling the plays on Saturday. He was not. As he let us know, went sort of through the formatics of their process of play calling. So I thought I gave a really good answer to that. Armani Goodwin, they are going to practice him today. He wants to play on Saturday. Hopefully they get him back. That would be a huge boost to the running game. A game in which you should be able to learn a lot of lessons from what Auburn did a week ago, rushing for over 300 yards against that Ole Miss defense. A lot of yards and plays to be had against Ole Miss. Anything else of note from Brian Kelly? I'm trying to think newsworthy. Saints are back on the practice field today. Again, short week. They'll play on Thursday. So if you remember, yesterday was an off day, treatment, etc. Today, practice, Wednesday travel, Thursday play. So as far as the Saints, they issued a hypothetical injury report, and so that would have been, had they practiced, here's what it would have looked like. But they didn't practice, obviously. And it was a lot of the same. No Jarvis Landry, no Michael Thomas. Here's the DNPs. Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Andrus Peat, Adam Troutman, remember he had the ankle injury. He was going in motion and just dropped. Keith Kirkwood, Marshawn Lattimore, all would not have practiced on Monday. And then you had another half dozen guys that were limited. Ingram, Adebo, May, Ramchick, Throckmorton, Peyton Turner, and then both quarterbacks, Jameis and Andy Dalton. They list Andy Dalton with a back injury. So I would assume we'll find out the severity of that the next time Dennis Allen has media availability. Again, I don't know what this week looks like, if it should be sorry, I was looking at a tweet. Cole Kublik tweeted, most points scored in a single game against Alabama all time. Vanderbilt scored 78 back in 1906. Swanee scored 54 in 1907. Auburn scored 53 in 1900. And Tennessee scored 52 in 2022. Wow, it's incredible. 1906, 1907, 1900, 2022. It'd been 100 years. 1907. It'd been more than 100 years since someone scored that many points against Alabama. Crazy. All right, let's say some good morning, Joe. We'll blow and go here. Bart St. Germain, Kelly Gross, good morning. Trey Patin, Truax, what's good, man? David Coslin, Chase Pellegrin, Brian Wynn, Michelle Manuel, Matthew Garner. Morning from Cancun. I'd like to think the Tigers won on Saturday in celebration of my wedding. Sure, Matthew, but as we discussed, shame on you for getting married in football season. But congrats on your nuptials. Hope you all are enjoying Cancun. Thanks for tuning in, man. By the way, why are you watching this while you're on your honeymoon in Cancun? You should be doing other things. You know what I mean? Bo Brown, do you think anything clicked for the guys and we see consistency with the offense? Bo, I don't think it's wishful thinking. I think the answer is yes. Because what was kind of the missing piece, right? If you listen to the coaches, and I think Brian Kelly's been really candid. It was more just getting Jayden comfortable throwing those 50-50 balls. And that was kind of the difference in the game. I mean, think about the 3rd and 15 on the opening drive. He completed the ball on the right sideline to Kayshawn into double coverage. And Kayshawn took a big hit there. That's when Kayshawn and the defender stayed down for a second. Well, that's a tough pass. The touchdown pass to Brian Thomas was a 50-50 ball, and it was underthrown. And Brian Thomas went up and went over the defender and wrestled it away and scored. The pass to Brian Thomas on the right sideline for 29 yards that they ultimately ruled was they overturned on review, which was bogus. But those are 50-50 balls, man. But those are big chunk plays that move the offense. And the receivers are capable. They just needed Jayden, number one, to have time to throw it, and number two, to throw it. And he did. I mean, the 54-yard touchdown pass to Jure was a beautiful ball, dropped it in a bucket. You know, they got the defender to jump off sides. That was the call. I think Kelly called it they called it ice go or something like that, where they were trying to get the defender to jump off sides to get a free play. So, I mean, you saw all those things work. Why can't they work again? You know, a big part of it too was the offensive line holding up, and they were great. 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss. I mean, the flip side of it is look at what happened a week ago against Tennessee. 5 sacks, 9 TFLs. You were a disaster on the line without Campbell, without Dellinger. You were more stable on Saturday. Let's see. I can't read that first comment. I'm sorry. How about the Tigers? Matt, super proud of Jayden Daniels 5 for trusting his guys. Indeed. Wendell Norman, Joey Vincent, Brad David. How many SEC teams do you think will end up in the playoff? 2. You know, Brad, you want to know the really unfortunate thing for Tennessee? And I'll say this right now on Tuesday, October the 18th. The really unfortunate thing about Tennessee, even if they win in Athens in a couple of weeks, they're going to have to beat Bama again. And think about what it took for them to beat Alabama the first time. It took 52 points, which is more points than Alabama had given up in a century. It took Alabama committing more penalties in a single game than they had in program history. And with that, they still needed a walk-off field goal at the Horn to win the game. It is hard to beat Bama. And you give them another crack at it. I mean, they play again in Atlanta. I'm picking Alabama to beat Tennessee, 100%. I've seen that movie before. I know what it's like. I know what it's like when you win the gigantic emotional game against Bama and then they get another crack at you on a neutral field. No thanks. I've seen that movie. Trivia Carter, Larry Garner, Brandon, what's up? Matty Rock and Drew, hope all is well. Thank you, man. Jesse Brown, good morning. With all the Saints injuries, do you think their record will be the same if Peyton was still coaching? No, I think they would have absolutely beaten Carolina. And boy, the game in London's tough. And I think they would have won on Sunday. I think Sean Payton would have handled the end game scenario differently. I think they would be at least 2 games better than they are right now. Instead of 2-4, I think they'd be at least 4-2. Nicholas Cantrell, Jason Age, Chance Babin, what's going on? Reed Rule, morning Matt. Missed that last leg on a $300 parlay last night because Melvin Gordon was demoted to 3rd string in the middle of the game. Hey, but you know who was elevated? Mary, present. Brett DeGros, Shane O'Mac, Brian Williams. When I was watching the Monday Night Football game last night, found myself saying Murray present in my head several times. Troy McCain, good morning. Bailey C., I'm apathetic about the Saints. They don't have a coach or a quarterback. I don't want to say both things are true. I'm willing to allow Dennis Allen some leeway. especially considering all the injuries. But boy's got a lot to prove, doesn't he? Chance Babb in the video from LSU at the Oval Office getting Gat popped up yesterday. I want to be that happy again. God, that was so fun. Eric Wilderado with baseball. I thought you made a great point that with all the transfers, playing in the box might be a disadvantage. Do you think we're seeing the same thing with football? No. And so Eric's point is, so with baseball, my point was, for a lot of years, we would think of the box as a huge advantage for LSU because a lot of these guys from smaller schools would come in, or other schools would come in to play LSU, and it's the first time they ever played in front of 10,000 people and played in that environment, that atmosphere, and it would swallow a lot of those opponents. And I think there were times where, for some of the LSU guys, maybe the box has started to do that to them. So he's asking you, could the same thing be true for football? No, because look, man, you look at Joe Fouché and Greg Brooks and Jark Bernard Converse and a lot of these guys. I mean, Noah Kane. They played in 100,000 seat stadiums before. Even if you look at guys like Richardson or some of the small school guys, they've played non-conference games in big environments. So no, I don't think so. I really don't. I just think there's just a dramatic step up in competition. That's kind of the big difference. As always, I'll shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, Restored Motions, brortho.com, hudcoroofing.com, restoredmotions.com. Let's see. Some more y'all's questions. Jump back to Facebook. Where was I? Bubba Tatum. Bubba, good morning, Sconers. Still in the hospital. Baby girl avoided surgery. Great news. Should be going home today with a full cast and crutches. Thank you to everyone who reached out with well wishes, concern. Thank you for the comments. Absolutely. Oh, Bubba, that's great news, man. So for those that didn't hear, I was hoping you would jump on here today and give an update. So Bubba's daughter was injured in a trampoline park accident on her birthday. Poor baby. They thought they might need surgery. He was in the hospital yesterday, jumped on Morning Scone from the hospital. So anyway, that's fantastic news, Bubba. Thank you for jumping on here and sharing that good news, man. Continued prayers for your family, but great news, great news. Thank you. Michelle Manuel, what changes have been made to special teams to ensure we don't make the same mistakes as this past Saturday? Yeah, Michelle, I'm not at practice, so I don't know, but we've seen so many of the same mistakes pop up over and over and over, and then different mistakes. Like, I'll put it to you this way. Week one, you had the issues with protection on field goal PAT. Well, you fixed that, okay? That was your personnel, you fixed that. Everyone you've tried as a returner has made a mistake. From Malik Neighbors to Gregory Clayton to Jack Besh, they've all made mistakes. So you're kind of running out of options, right? I mean, the other two guys that we saw work in the return game were Sevin Banks, who's injured, and Sage Ryan. So that would be your other option, right? If you want to put Sage Ryan back there, give him a try. I don't know. You had an illegal formation on punt team. We'll see if you fix that this week. Brian Kelly did mention that after the long return to start the game, they started sort of angling their kickoffs, which is a good strategy because it cuts off part of the field, but it only works if you keep the ball in bounds. And remember, early in the season, they tried doing that, and they kicked a few out of bounds. And so now you're giving them the ball at 35. So it's just been a real work in progress, man. Trey Patin giving up 400 yards on the ground the last couple of weeks. Can we slow down Ole Miss enough? Yes, and I think LSU's run defense against Florida was not bad. They just allowed an 81-yard run to a freak show. And Ole Miss don't have that guy. You know what I mean? Richardson had 9 carries for 109. 9 for 109. 81 of them came on one play. So he had 8 for 27, right? 8 for 28 otherwise. I'll take 3 yards a carry to a dude like Anthony Richardson. I mean, Montrell Johnson had 13 for 57. Travis Etienne had 8 for 28. And Lingard had 3 for 16. So 33 for 210. You had the 81-yarder. So without the 81-yarder, again, just tackle. And it was still a big gainer, right? It was still, regardless, he still would have got a big gain. But you had 3 chances to get him on the ground. You're talking 32 for 170? 32 for 170? That's healthy for sure, but if that's the thing you do, and that's the thing Ole Miss does, they ran the ball nearly 70 times last week. I'll remind you, look, Auburn ain't great, y'all. Remind you about Ole Miss here. Ole Miss played Kentucky earlier this year and scored 22 points in their own building. Ole Miss against Kentucky threw it for 213 and ran it for 186. It's a good day. It's a good balanced day. They ran it 39 times, threw it 29 times, scored 22 points. And it wasn't like they were plagued with turnovers. They only had 1 turnover in the game. So go play solid D. Know you're going to give up yardage, but be really good in the red zone, and allow 3s, not 6s, and score on a bad defense. All right, y'all, smash that like button if you would. YouTube, please smash that like button. Facebook, please like the page, share the post. Ryan Rogers, let's see, Bailey, coaching is about getting the most out of a team. Brian Kelly is, Dennis Allen is not. Bailey, listen, it's also difficult whenever you're playing your backup quarterback, your top 4 receivers are out, your best cornerback is out. Nobody's making excuses. It's the NFL. You still got to go play. But he's had a tough hand dealt him. Brandon, it's amazing hearing Brian Kelly talking about their awareness of time management, timeouts left when he did his press conference yesterday. USFL Network, low. Daniels did everything I've wanted him to do since Florida State. Higher hopes for our season now. Jay Geiger, morning, Matt. Do you think there is any way Daniels decides to return next year? I suppose it's always possible, but I'm just telling you what I'm not giving you I'm not sharing an opinion with you. I'm not telling you what I think he should do. I'm just telling you what I've been told. And what I've been told from people who covered him since high school all the way through Arizona State was he was always intentional of being a 3-and-done guy. Well, COVID happened. It kind of set everything back a year, so he decided to spend 1 more year in college. He transferred to LSU, and this is supposed to be it. So could he change his mind? Sure, he could change his mind. But my understanding is his intention is to go to the draft after this year. Tim Gotro, Eric Wilderrotter, for lack of a better way to say it, do you think the crab legs version of Jameis gives this team a better shot at winning? At least 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, a few interceptions would be entertaining. Yeah. Trav 504, Larry Garner, we need the jingle. Spurge, what's up? You know what? We're doing the jingle. We're just doing it. Whatever. Let's go. Blow and go jingle.
Someone you know, Scone and Terrio. All you need is hardcore. Call hardcore roofing. 364 1007.
Hardcore Roofing, hardcoreroofing.com. Spurge, Reed Rule, Ole Miss second in the SEC in sacks. We will need more 2 tight end sets to offset that. You might see 7-man protections. It might not be 2 tight ends, but you may see 7-man protections. Anthony Cortello, were they trying to adjust Besh's positioning on the muff punt at Florida? He was moving up, so that it is fair to say that, Anthony. You know, why, like, you've scouted all week, you know how far the guy punts it. Why are you having your returner move up, you know, while the guy's punting it? That's fair. Dalton Barnett, morning, Matt. Always get pleasure to beat the Gators. 4 straight, get some. Trivia, honestly, we might be better off with the other team starting at 35 instead of a touchdown or starting at 50. It's not, I mean, not a bad thought. If you're allowing a 47-yard kickoff return, yeah, I mean, maybe not. Blake Gregory, Matt, with Daniel's skill set, why don't we see more zone read option? Worked for a touchdown Saturday, even with him making the wrong read. Yeah, I'm not the play caller. I don't know. Let's see. Dalton Barnett, have you recovered from the beating T-Bob dished out via Josh Williams? Oh, my God. He's referring to the fact that when Williams ripped off the 50-yard run at the start of the second half, like, T-Bob is his father's son. He gets really excited. He gets very physical. Like, I was sitting in, like, in that Don Juan, those chairs are like these deep-seated chairs. Like, you sit far, but, like, I'm not on the edge of a chair. Like, the chairs are very deep. So, basically, the chair, I'm far back. The base goes all the way out past, you know, to my knee. I'm deep in a chair. And he, like, hops up and gets, like, over me and is, like, Josh Williams, like, hitting me. Like, not trying to hurt me, like, not punching me, like, punching me, but, like, excited, like, hitting me, being physical. It's like, he's freaking 300 pounds. He was like, yes. Like, I was like, get the fuck off me. Excuse me. But, yes, that's multiple times it's happened. Excuse me, that might be the first ever F-bomb on one Scone. But I did kind of mute it a little bit. All right, 5 minutes to go. Cody Kibido, refreshing to have Kelly explain what worked and didn't work in detail instead of O's and less his platitudes and generalities. Bradley Harden, premium dance moves, Matt. Jesse Brown, what's the update on Besh? Will he play Saturday? Yeah, so Besh had a couple of injuries in camp. He had shin splints, which Brian Kelly talked about. There's another injury that I was told about, which I will not disclose, which kept him out for part of camp. And then, because it's not been confirmed by anybody so publicly, so I don't want to say it. Apparently he had this back tightness, so it's a low back issue where it's tightening up on him. That's what happened on Saturday. His low back tightened up on him. So it kind of just sounds like something he's going to deal with. Maybe the week off for the bye is going to help. Okay. Darnell Walker, Jason Horn. Hey, Dad, good morning. Bubba Smith, Ryan Amanda Guidry. Let's see, Chase. Notice on AFR, you mentioned LSU Bama will probably be at night now. Didn't realize Tennessee, Georgia play that day, which makes it a no-brainer. Yes. So that is the good news. It looks like LSU Bama will be a night game in Tiger Stadium because next week, next Monday, we'll learn the TV windows for the following week. And given that Tennessee and Georgia play that same day, November the 5th, I believe it's the 5th. Of course, CBS with first choice is going to take number 1 versus number 3. They'll take Tennessee, Georgia from Athens. So that means ESPN would have the next pick. They'll take LSU Bama, put it at night on ESPN. So we'll likely get Joe Tess and Craig McElroy from Tiger Stadium for LSU Bama. Robbie White, morning, Matt. A few of us are thinking of going in on William LaRue for my dad for Christmas. Your thoughts on that bourbon? So, look, Robbie, if you have a chance to get anything, any BTAC, I mean, it's amazing. And Weller's are my favorite. I love weeded bourbon. Now, just candidly, and there's a lot of people who think William LaRue is the best of the BTACs. I did a blind taste of all of the Wellers, and I picked William LaRue last because it is hot, and it is, for me, there was just too much heat. Now, and I let it sit. Now, if I had a pour and let it sit for 15 minutes and open up nicely, I probably would have a much different experience. But I'll tell you, man, if you ever have a chance to get a BTAC, I say do it. So, like, if I had a chance to get a William LaRue, I would 100% buy it. Quentin Brakebill, Daniel Sinedge, Josh DeVilliers, morning, Matt. More 50-50 balls. Wide receivers are too good not to, right? Absolutely. That's what they've been wanting to see. Thad Landry, Thomas Bergeron, Buddy Bond. I would love for LSU to crush Ole Miss streams this weekend. Y'all, I posted a clip yesterday I went back to SEC Media Days and found the clip of me and Richard Cross talking when Richard was going through the schedule, and he's from Super Talk, Mississippi, and he's the one that pointed out, like, back in July, so look, Ole Miss could be favored in their first 7 games, so it should be no surprise at all that Ole Miss is 7-0 right now. Their schedule is backloaded, so the whole thing was Ole Miss. What are they going to learn about themselves for the first 7 games that'll help them through the grind, which is ahead, which is LSU and Bama and Texas A&M and Arkansas and Mississippi State. So, I mean, I'll put it to you this way, and a lot of Ole Miss fans got triggered because I posted this clip. Ole Miss is not the 7th best team in the country. They're not. LSU's favored in this game now, and should be. Ole Miss is a very good team. Ole Miss is certainly one of the top 25 teams in the country, maybe a top 20, or even a top 15, maybe. They're not the 7th best team in America. And they will not finish 7th. I think they will lose 3 games at least moving forward. So they finish 9-3, go to a really good bowl, have a chance at another 10-win season. All that's very good season. But they're not the 7th best team in America. All right, Michael Thacker, morning Scone, taking your prediction as gospel this weekend. Win versus Ole Miss. That said, how strong of a possibility is 6-2, finishing 2nd in the West? Yeah, This is why you let things play out. Like, don't the Arkansas and Texas A&M games look infinitely more winnable now? Arkansas's defense is atrocious, although they do have a good offense. Arkansas's defense is atrocious, and Texas A&M can't score. Like, those 2 games look infinitely more winnable now. Stephen Dufour, no comments this week from the chat about the Nuss bus. Funny, right? Kelly Presley, regarding kick returns, why don't we just fair catch instead of trying to advance on returns? They have. I mean, one of the ones that Malik Neighbors muffed was a fair catch. But it's a good question. Dalton, wonder if the last minute interception in the Tennessee game finally got Jayden over his fear. I don't think so. I really don't. Jason Horn, what's up? All right, y'all. I'm sorry. It's 8 o'clock. I gotta go. Kid show, my bad. All right, y'all. I think we're done. I gotta go. All right, y'all. Jerry Beard, first time being awake early enough to catch Morning Scone live. Welcome, Jerry. Glad to see you there. Okay, I gotta go, y'all. I gotta get Drew up, get him out of here. Y'all have an awesome day. As always, shout out to Brock, Hudco, Restored Motions. Y'all have a great day. LSU Daily already live. AFR at 3. We'll see you then. Peace.